Rajdeep, appreciate you joining us because I understand till about midnight there were press conferences, hustles that were on that you were also tracking. With your wide experience of all these decades covering Maharashtra politics, does this come as a surprise? Why are there cryptic comments coming in from the so-called rebel MLAs who are saying, but we are still with NCP, we are still with Sharad Pawar? What do you think is happening? Is he really alarmed and shocked by what had happened?
Look, Pooja, that's a very good question because the fact is, as we've seen in Maharashtra politics over the last 4 years, the only thing that is predictable is the unpredictable. Frankly, the sense one gets is that Mr. Pawar was aware that several of these MLAs, including his nephew Ajit Pawar, were in conversation with the BJP, and some of them had openly told Mr. Pawar in their meetings that they would like the NCP to join hands with the BJP. So Mr. Pawar was aware of what was happening. Whether he had given his consent, well, he completely denies that.
Yes.
In fact, I spoke to him only this morning again, and he made it very clear to me that at no stage had he given them consent. In fact, what he did tell them was that if you wish to go, you're welcome to go, but I will not join hands. I will rebuild the NCP and I will stay within the opposition space. So the sense I got is that while these MLAs have made this choice, Mr. Pawar has decided to in a way remain with the Mahagathbandhan opposition fold. But you could argue, as some of the rebel MLAs are telling me, that Mr. Pawar himself had been in dialogue with the BJP in 2019. So it's not as if the BJP was ever a pariah for Mr. Pawar. And they remain hopeful that eventually, if Mr. Pawar finds that life in this opposition Mahagathbandhan space is not going anywhere, then he will look at the BJP as a potential option ahead of the 2024 elections. Which is why, as you can see, none of these rebel leaders at the moment are directly wanting to confront Mr. Pawar.
Correct.
They would want, ideally, unlike in the Uddhav Thackeray case. In the Uddhav Thackeray case, Eknath Shinde directly confronted Uddhav Thackeray because this was a battle within the Sena. This is not so much a battle within the NCP as the NCP looking, or a large section of the NCP looking at options outside the Mahagathbandhan. And they are hoping, one of the leaders told me, to persuade Mr. Pawar eventually to also join hands with them. But the very fact that Mr. Pawar's group has now sent disqualification notices clearly suggests that Mr. Pawar is bracing for some kind of a fight to retain his hold over the party. In fact, tomorrow and day after, he's expected to be in Mumbai, and he was telling me that large crowds will be gathering at the NCP office, where interestingly all the pictures of the rebel ministers have been removed from the office.
Rajdeep, let's talk about the bigger picture of opposition unity here. They wanted to get together in Bihar and get united against the BJP. But Asaduddin Owaisi of AIMIM made a very important comment. What sort of an opposition unity is this when you bring a Praful Patel to the meeting in Patna and then days later he joins the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Eknath Shinde-led government? And do you think this is also reflecting poorly on a so-called opposition unity that these parties were planning to earlier?
You know, Pooja, that's again a very good question, because that really is, I think, one of the BJP has in a way killed 2 or 3 stones, birds with one stone. A, they have clearly downsized the Mahavikas Aghadi in Maharashtra. B, they have struck at the idea of a Mahagathbandhan, a national alliance, by in a way undermining it. And 3, they've also sent a message, interestingly, to Eknath Shinde, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, that look, we have all kinds of options available with us. We hold the levers of power. When it comes to the Mahagathbandhan, you know, this is a Mahagathbandhan at the moment which is relying on arithmetic without the chemistry. And that really is the problem of this Mahagathbandhan. How are you going to get the likes of Arvind Kejriwal and the Congress to break bread? How are you going to eventually get Mamta Banerjee and the left to agree on seat sharing? And I think that in a way what has happened with the NCP also shows that many of these parties who are in Patna actually have serious problems within their own states. Mamta Banerjee is now fighting the left and the Congress for a panchayat election in West Bengal. The left and the Congress are fighting each other in Kerala. Within a day of the Patna meeting, one of the senior Congress leaders was arrested by the left government in Kerala. and now you're seeing what's happening in Maharashtra. So I think the message is clear that if this Mahagathbandhan has to work at all, before the arithmetic, the chemistry will have to be worked out, and all these parties will have to get their home bases in order before they can think of going national. Mr. Pawar's focus now will have to be first on rebuilding his party, the NCP in Maharashtra, before he can consider, as some were suggesting, becoming the convener of a wider national alliance. So I think the challenge for all these parties, and that's why I'm told that the Mahagathbandhan meeting also, which was scheduled for 13-14, has been postponed to later in July, is that they first need to work a common minimum agenda, need to work out their own problems before they can go ahead and forge a wider alliance to take on Mr. Modi.